Christmas!
Hey, Verb. How are you, you rascal?
I'm good, you goblin. How are you?
I'm doing well. Here we are again. It's that special time of the day. Hopefully, this is like the 10th podcast you've watched because we're coming in hot. Doing it every day with a little spooky movie. Today we're doing Blair Witch. And why are we doing it? We're doing it all to hype that toy drive so you bring down something special for a child who would like a Christmas present. That's where you come in. We'll do the pod to get you in the giving mood. Then you pass off the toy and you're just going to sleep well at night. Those meals you eat all the time, you know how you eat 1, 2, 3 a day? It's going to taste better to you. Freaking the air will be like, fresh air. That's how you're going to feel every day. Your teeth, even if you don't brush them, you'll think they're clean. What else, Verb?
Everything. Everything will taste better. Everything will look better. Gasoline, you didn't like that smell before. You're going to like it now. Why? Because you got a kid dog.
I always like the smell of gas.
I don't mind it.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe not a lot will change, but maybe it will. It's hard to say. You do you. That's all I'm saying. Maybe the more you give, the better you feel. Who knows? I don't know.
But we are back, and we are talking Blair Witch, and this was a massive movie. It was...
Yeah, dude.
When it first came out, it took the world by storm.
By storm. Do you know how much money it made?
Tell me.
I don't know.
Oh, it made a buttload.
It made a whole heap of cash. Whole heap of cold, hard cash.
And compare that to the budget. I don't even remember what the budget is. These are two things you would think that we would have looked up, but we didn't. But we do know that the budget was very small.
Very small.
Truckloads of money.
Truckloads of cash. Do you think that the actors got paid well because of all that boatload of cash? Or did it just go to like corporate greed?
Probably corporate greed. It's probably before any kind of like back end deals were existing, and I think they were just probably happy to be in a movie, so they went for it. They took whatever.
You're probably right.
I wouldn't be surprised if you told me they made like $5,000. I'd be like, sounds right. I should never be an agent. Like, just give them $2,000 and
they're just happy to be in it. Don't worry about it. What is this? Spider-Man Homecoming 3? No problem.
I think the reason why it was so big also is because it was very divided. Like you either loved it or you hated it. But
polarizing no as hell.
You saw it because I think everybody saw it.
Can I ask if you've seen it in the theater?
I did for sure.
Perhaps we've seen it together because I've for sure seen it in the theater.
Yeah, very good chance. Seaway Mall, maybe side seats, side
Buddy,
left.
That was us, my dude.
Dude, I
totally remember. It was in the big one, big one at Seaway. Going in there, I had never heard of the movie. I seen the poster on the way in. We obviously were following girls, not following, but going with girls there.
We knew them.
We knew them. They said we should go to the movie, so we did. And I went in completely blind.
Yeah,
kind of spooky.
Knocked your socks off, and it was an event. I'm guaranteed it was a Friday or a Saturday night. Your whole class was there, and sometimes with those movies, everyone's so rowdy, nobody's even paying attention. But I think everybody was super focused on this one because they had no idea. We hadn't seen anything like it, and we've talked about the found footage movies already through our pods, but this had to be the first, or it had to be.
I think it's the first. I think it's the first on that scale as well. And you're right. We jumped into a whole bunch of this when we were talking about the Paranormal Activity one. It's hard not to compare them, even though they're two completely different movies. And I often don't like to compare art like one to one. However, sometimes when things are so close, like Metallica and Megadeth, they have all these similarities. It's hard to not compare them. So this is there against Paranormal Activity, and I do think Paranormal Activity looked at Blair Witch Project and said, let's fix a couple of things that are broken with this, and that's what they tried to do. Whether or not it's effective. I will say that when we did the Paranormal Activity podcast, I was saying that Blair Witch was better. I'm not positive now.
Right.
The reason why is because I feel I got more scares in Paranormal Activity. Blair Witch is a little bit more anxiety driven, and that's the fear that the unknown and something is coming, where Paranormal Activity has actual scares.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit more payoff in Paranormal Activity because you get to see a little bit more. In Blair Witch, they're really trusting that you got to just open your mind and use your imagination with it.
Yeah.
And I do think for one, I don't think there would be a Paranormal Activity without Blair Witch.
No way.
Like it started it all, so it makes sense to compare the two.
Do you give it kudos for that?
For sure. There's been
kudos.
I gotta say it, kudos. But there's been other great ones like Cloverfield. Cloverfield,
yes,
is a really good one. Maybe not necessarily a horror movie. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I seen it once when it first came out. It's about a big praying mantis or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. There is a found footage Bigfoot movie. I can't remember what it's called. It's really scary. And Bob at work always does the impression. He'd be like, "Oh!" And it sounds just like it. It's spot on. Actually, you do a killer impression just before we got onto the pod. Usually Verb and I just kind of shoot the breeze for a couple of minutes. And he started yelling out the guy's name, Josh. I think you sound just like Mike.
Like Mike. My impression was of Heather, but here we go. Josh!
Spot on.
There you go. And with that, I guess we should explain Josh and who these people are. Heather.
Right. Yeah. Maybe we should get into that a touch, huh?
Let's go. So Heather, they all seem to be young college kids, maybe taking film school. I don't know, but they're going out into the forest because they've heard this legend, Maryland forest. They've heard a legend of Blair Witch. She's out there. She haunts the woods. Anybody who goes out there, there's stories of like that she's killed other people. So her, and she's buddies with the blonde haired ponytail boy, Josh. And then they bring on Mike, who I believe, Heather doesn't know him, but he's a mutual guy. He seems to be like the hookup for like some of the equipment.
Right. I think Mike is brought on as the technical guy or something on set.
Yeah. And
just to let you guys know, they're filming a documentary about Blair Witch. That's why they're out there.
Right. So it starts with them like it's kind of like a road trip movie. They're headed out there, and at this point, they're having a great time. They're talking to like
smoking cigs.
A lot of cigarettes. Yeah, they're smoking a lot of cigs.
Cranking tunes.
They got some sort of Red Roof Inn Best Western that they see. Where,
eating
Twinkies, couple shots.
Oh, right. Doing a couple shots just to have a nice rest. You know what I mean? You suck one back.
They're cheersing because they're happy that they had a great day because their first day they were just talking to the locals in this town that kind of surrounds the forest and talking to them and seeing what they know about Blair Witch. And they all kind of, some of them are like, it's bullshit. Some of them are like, it's true. I know a person.
Yeah.
That's kind of what all legends are. Everyone claims to know a person.
Yeah. Is it like the Kevin Bacon thing? The 6 separations thing?
Yeah, like a guy I know. My brother's cousin's uncle.
Yeah.
Which is just family at this point. It's all still your family.
Some guy down the line, he's seen Kevin Bacon one time. He was walking by, eating a little ice cream cone.
So they head into the woods after that first night, and it's kind of like downhill right from the beginning. Well, they meet a couple dudes fishing. They have some stories. They're kind of just weird, which is cool to see. But then they get out there and they seem to get lost instantly, right?
Yeah. Well, wait, I don't think they know they're lost. Yeah. They sleep one night and carry on.
Nothing's really happened at that point.
Right. And then they start to get this idea that maybe they're off track. Maybe they're not on course with the map as they thought they were. So
Heather's
they have to camp out another night. And then when they wake up in the morning is when they find the first weird little things. There's all those little piles of rocks.
right around their tent. And this was, I think, actually, so when they first are thinking that they're kind of off course, they're headed to a cemetery. And when they get there, that is what the cemetery is, those little like rocks, which indicate that there's like dead bodies there. And then when they wake up, like you said, in the tent the next day, there's 3 rocks, I guess, representing 3 of them.
Yeah.
Surrounding the tent, so they're freaked out. My initial thought would be that like, who's messing with me? Like who knows we're out here?
Sure, of course, that's totally natural.
I got a similar story for that actually that I just thought of that involves the two. We'll just say it, the 2 Podio brothers. So we're very young, and if you remember my house,
scum, by the way,
if you remember my house back in the day, there was a forest behind it.
Right.
Oh, and so the 3 of us were out there camping Blair Witch style, way before Blair Witch.
You and the Podios.
Me and the Pojos.
Interesting.
And those 2 are zonked out. They're sleeping. They're done. And I'm still awake. And all of a sudden, the tent just starts shaking. And like, something's going on. Someone's messing with us. I hear giggling, but I'm still scared. And it turns out it was just my older brother and my older sister out there just like shaking it and like doing all this crazy stuff. And the reason that they were laughing so hard is because they said they just heard me mumbling. So we're talking like 7-8-year-old Adam just saying, "Oh geez, please, God, make it stop. Please, God, make it stop."
And the Podios just slept right through it.
Oh, Podie's just snoring away. He doesn't hear anything.
Even back then, as a kid, Podes was tough. I promise you, I would have woke him up and been like, "Buddy, we've got trouble. You need to get your ass out of your little sleeping bag here and clunk out some Yeti or I don't know."
And he would have probably taken them both out at the same time.
Imagine that. He just pounded the hell out of your brother and sister when he got out of there.
He would have deserved it.
I think they did. Yeah.
I was so frightened. So back to the Maryland woods.
Yeah, let's get back. Where is it set?
Maryland.
Maryland? Okay.
And I don't think that's how they talk in Maryland, but Maryland woods.
Yeah, they talk just like that there.
Crab cakes and football. That's how Maryland does.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What is that again? Oh, that's Wedding Crashers.
Crash
right?
it. Crash it.
Crash it.
Wedding Crashers. Well, we're off track here. So they wake up. The rocks are there. They keep cruising. And what are they cruising? At this point, I think their trek is done. Like they're a little bit freaked out, but I just think that their day is done. Like Mike's got to get back to work.
Yes.
Josh is real concerned about returning some equipment.
Mm-hmm. So they're at that point. Yeah, they're trying to get back to the car, and they're realizing Heather keeps saying things like, "Oh, don't worry, I know where I'm going. It's only going to be another hour. It's just going to be another hour. It's just going to be 2 more hours," until they finally get to the point of being just residing to the fact, okay, I guess we got to camp again. So they do camp again. I think that there's some malarkey during that night. Perhaps that's the night they wake up with the rocks.
Well, I don't think so. I think that might be the night that they just hear that. There's a couple nights where they just hear that noise, and it's not screaming. It's not like
it's a baby crying, is it not?
Maybe. It's almost like footsteps and like things getting knocked over and like rocks like clanging together.
Right. Yes, you're right about that. Like 2 rocks smashing together in the back.
Yeah. And then so they're still cruising. They're getting, this is one of the most real parts of it to me, is the way that they start turning on each other.
Yeah.
Because they're like hungry, they're tired, they're cold. They just need to get out of there, and they're lost. And I think that's exactly how anybody would start treating each other. Like everyone's starting to point fingers, people are blaming, people are snapping.
Not everyone. I wouldn't treat you like that.
I think you would.
Maybe if you're pushing my buttons.
You talk behind my back, you'd be like, who the fuck gave a verb the map in the first place?
Well, yeah, talking behind your back's one thing, but dude, I wouldn't turn on you.
I don't think he knows where he's going.
I think, never mind.
Yeah, fair. So then this just keeps on happening. And one night they wake up. At this point, I think we've said there's been like 5 nights. I think there's only like 3 or 4 in total. But
I
they
think you're
wake
right.
up and in the middle of the night, their tent was getting shaken. They run for their lives and they're kind of just like, it seems like hiding in a bush.
Yeah.
And after the commotion is done, they go back, they fall asleep, they wake up and they see like all their stuff has been scattered, but it's mostly all Josh's stuff. And there's
Right.
some sort of slime on Josh's stuff, which I never really understood
I
what
didn't
that was.
understand that either, but I did. That was pretty much the only moment of the whole movie that I laughed because one of them says,
I was
"Ew,
gonna say.
there's some slime on there," and Josh goes, "No, it's just water." Oh, it is slime.
That's true. And then he's upset, and it's kind of like a childish like upset. Like I don't know if he's scared, but he's more just like mad. He's like, "Why is it just my stuff? It's not your
Legit
stuff,
question.
Heather. It's not your stuff, Mike. It's mine." But
I
then you
don't
find
know.
out that there's a reason why it was his, and the next
What's the
night.
reason?
Well, I think he was being targeted for whatever reason because the next night he is taken. He disappears. So now we just got
Right.
Heather and Mike, who up to this point have really been butting heads more than anybody,
Right.
which was
They're
kind of
eating
cool.
leaves. They're eating
Yeah,
dry
kind of a
brown leaves.
a cool dynamic to like just have those two together now, who like originally didn't know each other and also seem
Right.
to hate each other now.
But they do come together quite well, I'd say.
Yeah, I think they realize they have to. At that point, they're like, we got to find this guy.
Oh, yeah. I think that's almost when Heather's ego kind of comes crashing down. Throughout the
Yeah.
movie, she's so boisterous and, I don't know, not humble. That's not the way to put it, really. She's just, I don't know.
Stubborn, maybe.
Yeah, like really
She's not
stubborn.
willing. She's not willing to admit that she messed up. And then you're right. By that point, she is kind of taking blame. She's apologizing
Yeah,
to people.
her ego is kind of taking a little back
Right.
seat now.
We did miss one big plot. Well, like big
The
moment.
sticks?
The sticks. Yeah. So they got to a part of that's not what I was thinking about, but they do get up to that part in the forest.
Yes, they come across this part where all of these twigs, they're cult wig twigs or something that are all, they look like little people that have been fashioned together with little twine and stuff.
Little stickman.
I think that is so cool and iconic looking. They
Yeah.
made a logo for the movie without even knowing it.
Exactly. Now, if you see anything that looks like it, your mind goes straight to Blair
100%.
Witch. The thing I was going to say is before Josh gets taken, there's a line that, again, like a lot of movies, just like stands out. And like for the next like month or two, everybody's just walking around saying it all the time. And this one was Heather wakes up and can't find the map. And they're really fighting with each other. And they're like, everybody's blaming one another. And then finally they start to crack and they're all just kind of laughing at the whole situation. Like, we're screwed. There's nothing we can do. But Mike is howling. Mike is just like, can't stop laughing. And then it gets to a point where they're like, what are you laughing at? He's like, I kicked the map in the lake. And he just thinks it's so hilarious that he just like remembers that he was the one who got mad and kicked the map in the lake. So it's just floating around in the, well, it's a river, not really a lake. And so the map's gone. But I feel like after that, for the longest time, like anytime someone was lost or anything like that, just some smarty pants would just be like, I kicked it in the lake.
That is news to me, man. But
No.
hey, I'll go with that line big time.
Oh, it was being tossed out. It was being tossed out big time.
Because that actually made me. This really seems like a hard movie to unfold scene by scene because the whole thing is pretty much set in one area. So it's hard to, in your mind, separate it all because things start to bleed together. But we forgot to talk about how they kept going south. Heather kept saying, we have to go south. What do you know? Leads them right back to Camp Point A.
Exactly. Yeah,
One
we've seen
big
this dog
circle after they're walking for 2 days.
That would make you crack. That would be
Well,
almost
it's
like
quite aggravating, I would say.
I'd be like, done.
What do you mean done? What are you gonna do?
I'd be that guy. I'd be like, we tried. I'm done.
What would you do? Just dig your own grave?
I don't have the energy for that, I don't think.
No, so you just lay there. Oh, you'd pout and mope.
Yeah, I'd be Johnny Peltman. Johnny Peltman. Tell everybody at home if they're not following along. So when Mike and Heather wake up, Josh is gone. They don't find Josh, but what do they find?
Oh, yes. This is when things really get fired up. As if you didn't know that things were starting to heat up already with the twig stickmen and the little piles of rocks all around, signifying that's you guys. We're going to bury you under those one day. All right? You college kids, you want to make a movie on me? Make a movie on that. What happens is the Blair Witch drops off this little package. She's fashioned this sort of twig nest. Within that twig nest, there's a bloody something wrapped in a piece of Josh's clothing. What is that thing?
You don't really get a clear look at it. Like I was trying to figure. I remembered that part. I was trying to like figure it out.
Me too.
Isn't it funny when like you're watching something and no matter which way you look at it, it's still going to look the same, but your head still kind of tries to. Can't wait. But I gotta assume it's a finger. Maybe that's what would be my guess.
I, for some reason, thought it was part of a jaw because I thought I seen teeth in the back part of it. So I thought that it was like one half of a jaw.
Yeah, you might be right.
Who knows though? But that is very, very creepy. How? Okay, so they right after they find that package, they hit the hay again. They're like, you know what? We better get some shut eye, okay, Mike? Lay your little head down.
Lay it down. And I know they don't show up, but do you think Mike and Heather? No, too scared.
Way too scared. She's snotting into the camera, apologizing to Mike's mom for getting him in all this hot water.
That's another like iconic scene of this movie. It's one that I think people
It's
like had copied and made fun of.
Michael Scott.
Yeah,
it's in one of the scary movies.
So it's just like a straight up nose shot, and just like she's like you said, apologizing to everybody, crying.
It's a iconic scene though.
It is really cool, actually.
Yeah.
So then you hit me.
After they decide to hit the hay, probably for nothing romantic related, just to actually get some shut eye and wait for the morning.
Got it.
They start to hear Josh hollering.
Yeah.
And he's like, ah! You do it.
Josh!
Well, he didn't really say his own name.
Oh, right. I think it was more like this then. Help me.
Yeah, it was something along those lines. It was way down there.
It was just like a chest scream, like a
yeah.
And I think they knew it was actually, I don't know. I think as a viewer, you kind of think it's a trap. Like, I don't think at any point you're like, oh, they're going to save him.
No, I did not think that. I most definitely thought it was a trap. They get out of the tent and start following the sound of Josh's voice, and they eventually reach this abandoned house right in the middle of the forest. And this house is effed up. It's not burnt, but it's decrepit in every possible way.
Do you think you've been in a house like that? I feel like I have.
100% I have.
During the day, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just like...
I think we used to toy around and go in at night just for a little bit of fun.
Maybe. Who knows if we were even like in the same house, but I feel like those houses are like houses that have been there for 150 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Like in the forest, but then like all other subdivisions and stuff were kind of like built around it, and it just like was still barely standing, but it was so creepy to walk through houses like that. Even if you see like little like wallpaper or like even if you see a kid's room like that.
Yeah. And there was always nudist magazines in there.
Yeah, that's from other fellas just hanging out in there, I think.
Why are they always leaving those mags around?
Another reason why just don't go in there at night. I don't think you should go in there.
No. However, Verb, I will say this. Earlier in this pod, I was saying that I would not turn on you if you and I were, say, Josh and Mike, or Heather and Josh, or Heather and Mike. I wouldn't turn on you. And I would say if I heard Verb just hollering off, honking down on the basement, I would have to go.
You have to.
I have to go.
Yeah, you have to. I would do the same. Your adrenaline takes you, and you're like,
You've got to do
hear
it.
him. He's this close. I
Right.
can get him.
So they're looking all through the house to try and find where this is coming from. And then Mike hears it out of nowhere. And they, just to put this into perspective, each one has a camera. Mike's is the modern camera that holds sound and is in color. And Heather's camera is a black and white 8mm camera that she wants to film the doc on. That's the one that she has. So she's looking through it, but you only get Mike's audio. And that's one of the things that I found super scary, because Mike goes all the way down into the basement to find Josh. He gets clunked out. You don't know by what. His camera just falls to the ground, but it's still rolling. Heather is cruising through the house. You can hear Mike's audio of Heather being like, Mike, way upstairs, until she finally comes down. And this is the part that gets me every damn time. And it got me again this time. Jules, up the spine. Mike is facing in the corner, because the myth is that the witch would kidnap people and kids, and she would make all of the victims stand and face the wall while she would kill them one by one. So basically, Mike was standing there because he was going to be next after Heather. So as soon as Heather comes down, she's donezo. Mike, you got to chill there until I'm ready for you. That just gave me the big time willies.
Yeah,
I'm not even kidding you.
It's so spooky. And like, to be honest, I don't know if I'm as smart as you are, and I didn't put all those all those things in order. I think I probably just thought that it was creepy that he was standing in the corner. But then, and there's a lot of people weren't satisfied. Like, it was one of those endings where it just, she hits the ground, the camera hits the ground, and it just ends, and people are like, oh man, that's it. But honestly, the way that you just explained it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, right?
That's perfect. So maybe you just need to, from now on, any movie I watch, you just need to sit beside me and be like, yeah, so this guy.
Oh, you think I put that together on first viewings? No. I watch a movie, then I hear somebody else talk about it. I'm like, yeah. Then I watch it 3 more times. I'm like, that does add up.
Oh, you should have took credit, because you sounded like a goddamn genius.
You should know me by now. I'm a C student at best, my friend. That's what I'm really, really trying. I only passed through any of my classes ever based on charm alone.
That's true.
But I'm just getting to teach to like me, and that's it.
You didn't have any classes on Blair Witch. If you did,
oh, I would rock that course.
These teachers just didn't know how to nurture your passions.
That's right. Yeah, my passion was not in math. I took math 6 times in 4 years to get those 4 credits.
You got them.
I don't even know why it was important. Everyone always said, you got to get math. Your math is really important. You got to do it. I mean, I'm very quick at adding and subtracting.
Yeah, I know. You know
2
what?
plus 2 is 4.
They must have really drilled the whole credit thing into our heads so hard. Like, you need this many credits and you're not going to get this credit. Because
right.
I've had dreams 15, 20 years out of high school that are more like, holy shit, I need 2 more credits. I don't think I'm going to get them. I'm going to have to go back next year. All my friends are gone. My parents are going to kill me. And then I wake up and I'm like, dude, I graduated 15 years ago.
With honors.
Why are you stressed? Here's my diploma.
That's what nightmares are, dude.
I guess, but why am I having those boring nightmares?
Can I tell you a quick little tidbit about that, actually, about having to go back? So I was planning on going back to OAC, which, to you kids who don't know, is basically like grade 13. I was planning to go back a week before school was supposed to start. I'm like, yo, Verb, so do you want to like ride together to school on Monday? And you're like, I'm not going back. I'm like, well, I'm not going back. And then I didn't go back.
I'm pretty sure. Well, unless you're driving me to college.
Just like right there on the spot. I'm like, oh, you're not going? Oh, hell no, I'm not going. I'm not going to grade 13 if you ain't going.
We went to graduation together. How did you think you were going back?
Dude, it's because that's how you get additional credits or something for college that I also didn't go to.
wish we went back. We should have gone
Yeah.
back.
Oh, we absolutely should have gone back, man. Those taco fries? I lived for those
Oh,
taco fries.
baby. So, yeah. And the cookies. Everyone says their cookies are the best, but
The
we had the vanilla, you know.
the cookies were lovely.
Pretty good. I bet every school had the same cookies.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
Kids like them.
I think before we start getting into ratings, I don't think we can end this without talking about real quick the marketing for this movie. I know we touched it a little bit on anher pod, but
On
it
Paranormal
was so
Activity.
well done. They had they really wanted you to believe that these were real people. It was
Yes.
kind of like, man, I honestly, and maybe I'm wrong, but like I feel like the internet had been out for like maybe 5 years, 4 years tops, like five years tops maybe. And they had this website that was like super basic, but it had their pictures and like a description about all of them. And it was like, if you see these people, call this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And like, even though you knew it was a movie, you still would like, I would go on there and be like, maybe it's real. Like, small part of me that was just like, I don't know.
Absolutely. And the original version, now it has credits. Like Paranormal Activity, no credits. No.
Paranormal has nothing?
Paranormal has nothing. But Blair Witch, at the time in the theater, nothing to really sell that idea of the marketing.
That's awesome. And I was
genius.
We were pretty young, so it's hard to remember. But like, with all that being said, you have to assume that like absolutely no press. Like nobody's going on a show to promote the movie. Nobody. You can't. Like, that part just has to not exist.
Well, also, there's a real good chance that this movie might not do anything at all. I think it was such a low budget, they just threw it out there and hope for the best. And all the actors are no-name actors. So I think as it picked up steam, maybe they went in and did press or went on to a late night show or something after.
Yeah, maybe.
But not to promote it. No way. That would just kill the vibe.
Yeah, there's no way. So I personally really liked it. I think it was like it was the beginning of a whole new genre of horror movies.
Yeah.
And I know it was split. I've met a lot of haters. I don't know if you know a lot of people that really don't like it. You got the people at the time saying, it makes me nauseous.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah, get a grip.
Get a grip.
Movie rule. Get a grip.
Dude,
Hold on to the or something.
Have you ever wore those VR glasses?
Not one of the newer sets, but I have worn a pair.
Oh, buddy, I put on my nephew's pair, walked around a kitchen, not like a virtual kitchen, for about 10 seconds and almost puked.
Oh,
and he told me the reason why that happened is because my brain is too stupid to understand what's happening. It can't process the info.
Or it's processing it, too slowly.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I'm going by this 12-year-old who's telling you all this.
Well, buddy, I mean, I did fail math many times, and this sounds like a mathematical problem.
Oh, VR. One day we'll be doing this through VR.
You know it. So what do you rate this pup?
I'm giving it an 8. A solid 8.
I think that is very fair.
Dude, I watched it. This is one that I definitely haven't watched in at least 10 years. I don't think I'll watch it for another 10 years, but I just think that it's like so original, and I believed all the characters. Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8. I think it's cool.
Fair. I think what you said is 100% on point. Very original, super cool, super scary, first of its kind, all those things. However, what I said in the Paranormal Activity podcast was that I felt Blair Witch was better. They are different because Blair Witch is all about anxiety and building that, where Paranormal Activity is a little bit more about giving you those cheap thrills. However, I think personally that I like Paranormal Activity slightly more because I find it slightly more scary, which in turn is more entertaining for me, and I have a better time when I watch it. So I can't rank it higher than Paranormal Activity. I think I gave that one an 8. So I would give Blair Witch something like a 7.5 or a 7.2.
I like it.
But overall, super good. I love the crude filmmaking of it. It's just really cool.
Go watch it if you haven't seen it.
If you haven't
Don't,
seen it, you're straight bozo.
don't forget about the Halloween ho-ho. We've talked about it all day, every day.
All day, every day. You should know by now. You should even have the toy bought or at least in mind. We will see you
And
again. We love you very much for joining us on the pod. It's been
thank
real.
you.
Verb, always good running into you, my boy.
Nice to see you. Let's do it
Well,
tomorrow.
okay, bye.
Peace.